Jack Sparrow is in trouble, again, and he looks exactly like he knows how entertaining that will be. The movie picks up with Will Turner and Elizabeth Swann having finally arrested him, more because duty and pride tug at them than because they actually enjoy the thought of a hangman's noose. Jack, with his typical swagger and maddening grin, is on his way to face judgment. But as anyone who's seen him in action knows, the idea of restraint around Jack Sparrow never lasts very long. The real problem that crashes into everyone's life this time is bigger than any petty charge. Jack owes a monstrous debt to Davy Jones, the half-man, half-tentacle captain of the Flying Dutchman, and Jones isn't the kind of creditor who accepts IOUs. There's a dark ledger, a deal Jack made long ago to escape the depths when the Black Pearl sank, and the tally has come due. Davy Jones wants what's owed, Jack's soul, and he wants it with the sort of slow, mythic patience that comes with an immortal sea captain. The only way to fend him off is to find the dead man's chest, a single chest that holds Davy Jones' heart. Whoever controls that black thing controls Davy Jones himself. Naturally, that chest becomes every scoundrel, naval commander, and supernatural being's focus by Act 2. Will and Elizabeth's thread is simpler and more human. Will has always been chasing a promise to his father, Bootstrap Bill Turner, who once served on Jones' ship and bore the scars of bargain and betrayal. The map to the dead man's chest is literally inked into Bootstrap Bill's skin, and anyone who knows that fact knows how dangerous a piece of flesh can be. Will is motivated by love and an urgent desire to do right by his absent father. Elizabeth is torn between duty and what her heart says about Jack. She's been through enough shifting alliances to know that loyalties are messy when curses and orders get involved. She's trying to walk the straight line, but the siren song of adventure and Jack's particular brand of chaos tug her away frequently. Into this mess slides Lord Cutler Beckett, a calculating, power-hungry man in London who sees the supernatural as a tool to be harnessed. He's not interested in pirate freedom or blood vows. He wants dominion and insurance. With Jones' heart, he imagines controlling the sea's greatest weapon and bending it to the will of the East India Trading Company. He's the corporate villain, cold, efficient, and impossibly patient, who will manipulate orders, courts, and fleets to get what he wants. So when the news arrived that Jack Sparrow has information about the chest, Beckett's agents start pulling strings. Commodore Norrington, who has a complicated sheen of duty and a bruised ego, becomes the lever for that manipulation. He can pretend righteousness while delivering people like Elizabeth and Jack into Beckett's hands. Meanwhile, Jack is Jack, slippery, charming, and luckier than he has any right to be. He doesn't transform into a hero overnight. He's still self-preserving and theatrical, but he always seems to be one step away from survival by pure improvisation. He flirts with danger, trades barbs with fate, and recruits from the ragged, competent pile of pirates left loyal enough to follow him. It's that loyalty, equal parts genuine affection and mutual usefulness, that fuels one of the film's central dynamics, the odd family of a pirate crew led by a morally flexible captain who still has moments of actual courage, if only for ridiculous reasons. One of the film's best new additions is Tia Dalma, a voodoo priestess with a sense of mischief and way too much knowledge. She's equal parts creepy and maternal, and she's sitting on secrets that skew toward the mythic. She's Calypso, a sea goddess bound in mortal form, and she knows more about Davy Jones and the deep rules of the sea than anyone else. She's interested in Jack and the Pearl for reasons that are part curiosity and part her own inscrutable agenda. Her presence gives the movie some genuine supernatural flavor and a messy emotional center. She revives old players and shifts alliances with a wink, and her ritualistic vibe foreshadow bigger mythological threads that third acts and sequels will pick up. Barbossa, who was the main antagonist in the first film, and who Jack and crew thought they'd seen off, gets resurrected in devilishly fun fashion. Brought back by Tia Dalma, he's both familiar and different, older, wilier, and still harboring teeth that never quite stop flashing. Revenge, grudges, and the business of command make him the complicated ally or enemy that keeps everyone on their toes. With Barbossa back in play, loyalties splinter and reform with frequency. Everyone's motives shift like the tide. Some want the chest to kill a monster, others want it to hold the keys to commerce, and still others want it for reasons that are purely personal and stubborn. A big portion of the movie becomes a game of who's got the map. Pieces of paper switch hands, tattoos are peeled back, and betrayal becomes an odd sort of sport. Will's discovery, Bootstrap Bill's skin carrying the chest's location, pushes him into action with painful clarity. The idea that your father's body might be the map to salvation is both grotesque and heartbreakingly human, and Will's choices about what to do with that map tell you everything you need to know about him. He's not a man who makes killing choices lightly. He's a man driven by love and duty, and when those two collide with piracy and politics, drama sparks. Tortuga is back, loud, filthy, and full of the world's worst ideas, and it's a place where pirate alliances are made and bathed in ale. Jack's charisma in a room of thieves is still his superpower. He manages to assemble a crew, if it even is both earned and heavily negotiated. There are heists, double crosses, and more than one fistfight that ends with someone covered in ink or insult. The script leans into the chaos of piracy in a way that feels celebratory. It's violent and silly and romantic in a guttering candle kind of way. When the chase finally lands the characters at the Deadman'schest itself, tension becomes physical. The island sequence, foggy, creepy, and crawling with the sense that things are best left undeserved, feels like a gothic postcard. Everyone wants in. Jack, Will, Elizabeth, Barbossa, even Commodore Norrington's grudges. The chest is real, it is ugly, and yes, it smells faintly of salt and old betrayal. The mechanics of getting to it, maps, whispers, and very bad sailing choices, are the sort of swashbuckling nonsense that make the movie charming and ridiculous in equal measure. Expect clever sea salt quips and the odd moral dilemma, often in the same breath. Davy Jones himself is a cinematic highlight. Physically, he's one of those impossible creations, part man, part cephalopod, with a face that's a horror and a sadness that makes him fascinating rather than cartoonish. His backstory, once in love, betrayed, then turned monstrous, gives him more texture than mere villainy maids. He's terrifying not because he's evil for evil's sake, but because he's been made tragic by obligation and heartbreak. And when you get someone immortal and embittered commanding an armada of the drowned, stakes escalate quickly. Jones isn't some faceless boss. He has motives, regrets, and a foul, salt-soaked sense of humor about the futility of most life. The heart becomes the fulcrum of human choices. Whoever holds it has bargaining power, and power changes people. The chest bumps from hand to hand through a sequence of betrayals so artful you almost admire the selfishness. Jack plays his usual mind games, Will plays the long, honest scale, and Elizabeth alternates between both, depending on who's trying hardest to earn a kiss. The back and forth is entertaining and occasionally bleak. It's a study in how desperation breeds cunning. And, of course, when myth and bureaucracy collide, when Beckett's disciplined fleets come up against Jones's immortal crew and Jack's scrappy pirates, the cinematic fireworks are both literal and metaphorical. A sequence I won't spoil too exhaustively, but that's what nutting, is the Kraken's attack. It's one of those blockbuster moments where you can feel the audience collectively lean forward. The Kraken is not graceful. It's an existential horror with a lot of suction and a taste for wooden decks. Ships are swallowed or smashed, and the men aboard them discover just how small human plans are in the face of monstrous appetite. That force of nature serves as both spectacle and narrative mechanism. It punishes hubris, it levels playing fields, and it provides an external reminder that all human cleverness is a candle in a storm. The emotional core, though, is smaller and quieter. The strain between Will and Elizabeth and Will's relationship with his father is the human ballast to all the slapstick and sea sorcery. Will's willingness to do ugly things for love, sometimes brutal, sometimes noble, gives the film its moral weight. Elizabeth's struggle to reconcile her love for a respectable life with the pull of the sea and of Jack's messy honesty is handled with a bit of dignity and a touch of humor. She's not a damsel so much as someone constantly making consequential choices while wearing corsets and good intentions. By the time the final 12 minutes tick by, alliances are shredded. Someone makes a choice that seems noble and ends up chaotic. Another, trying to be pragmatic, ends up enabling cruelty. The heart changes hands in ways that make your stomach do math. The British fleet, Beckett's ambition, Jones's hunger for payback, Jack's improvisation, Barbossa's vendettas, and Tia Dalma's ancient aims converge in a noisy, heartbreaking clash. There are moments of true cruelty. People get hurt, goodbyes are shouted over gunsmoke, and the sea claims its share of payback. There's also real bravery. Characters step into decisions that cost them dearly for reasons that you can respect. The movie closes on a dark kind of cliffhanger. There are losses that feel personal and choices that bite back in ways the characters didn't foresee. A few beloved faces end up trapped in situations that look very final. Other characters are left with new obligations and heavy ironies. Liberty, it seems, is always bought at the price of something else. Loyalty, soul, or simply human life. And the film doesn't pretend otherwise. If you walk out humming the theme, you've missed the point. The film is about moral ambiguity wrapped in swashbuckling fun. You're meant to cheer, cringe, and then sit with a knot in your throat as the credits promise more trouble on the horizon. A few smaller notes because I can't help myself. The film keeps dialing up the visual inventiveness, creatures, ship designs, and practical effects. And sometimes it's almost cartoonish in the best way possible. The humor is salty and often self-aware. Jack's one-liners land because Johnny Depp delivers them as if he believes every ridiculous thing his character says. The supporting cast, Keira Knightley, Orlando Bloom, Jeffrey Rush, and the rest do solid work keeping the movie tethered to humanity beneath the spectacle. And Tia Dalma? She's one of those characters who makes you want side stories just to see what else she's been up to. If you're watching mainly for story, be prepared for a lot of moving parts. The movie isn't subtle about its intentions. It wants you entertained, shocked, and invested enough to come back for the next chapter. It succeeds at that, and then some. If you're watching for tight logic, you might roll your eyes at the conveniences. Maps conveniently found, betrayals timed like clockwork. But that's part of the charm. These are characters who live by improvisation and luck, and the film gives them enough heart to make that way of life feel both reckless and oddly noble. In short, Pirates of the Caribbean Deadman'schest is a sprawling, noisy, often brilliant middle chapter. It takes the seeds planted by the first film, curses, treasure, and a charismatic rogue, and blows them into a myth with tentacles. It raises the stakes, doubles down on spectacle, and leaves you with enough unanswered questions that you'll happily go looking for the next installment. It's messy, loud, occasionally heartbreaking, and paradoxically warm, like sitting around a bonfire with people you've just betrayed, but also rely on to get you ashore. It knows it's ridiculous and chooses every time to lean into that ridiculousness with a grin. Don't forget to subscribe and hit the notification bell for more epic movie recaps.